First at 10. News Plus, the 10 o'clock news.
Hello, everybody. In Beirut, it's now morning, the dawn of the 14th day for the American passengers on a hijacked TWA flight. As the jetliner hijackers and crew remained parked at the Beirut airport, the negotiator for the terrorists held a news conference. During the day, the plane's co-pilot was removed from the jet and taken to the American University Hospital, where he was treated for an infected insect bite. Philip Maresca was later returned to the plane and radioed the tower that he was fine. The surprise development today was when the hijackers released hostage Jimmy Palmer. Palmer was freed in Beirut because of poor health. Later this hour, the Independent News will have a complete look and details of today's developments in the hostage situation. One person who looks at the release of Jimmy Palmer with more than a passing interest is his nephew, who lives in Elk Grove. For the past 13 days, the uncertainty over the crisis has caused many sleepless nights. But early today, there was a new experience.
Intense relief. The roller coaster of emotions that we've been going through for the past 2 weeks has just left us totally exhausted. And again, this morning at 4 o'clock, when I was notified that my uncle was no longer a hostage there, intense exhaustion just kind of enveloped me. And I'm just now starting to begin to recover.
So, Naren's uncle, Jimmy Palmer, hopes to return to the U.S. tomorrow. For the 7th time, the assassin of U.S. Senator Robert Kennedy, Sirhan, was denied parole. In the words of the 41-year-old Jordanian immigrant, "I wish it had never occurred, for the Kennedy's sake and my own." But there is a surprise disclosure concerning today's parole hearing. Reporters accidentally overheard the board deliberate just 3 minutes before denying parole. Sirhan's attorney plans to challenge the quick decision, saying they didn't meaningfully and maturely deliberate the options. The deadly contamination of Jalisco cheese, which has killed 51 people, may not have been an accident. The Los Angeles District Attorney has launched a criminal probe of the cheese deaths. Mark Trank has details.
District Attorney Ira Reiner says criminal charges, including manslaughter, may be filed against the Jalisco Cheese Company. Last night, investigators from the DA's office entered the plant armed with a search warrant. They seized 20 boxes of records, some of which show that in the last 3 months, Jalisco bought far more raw milk than it was capable of pasteurizing. According to the DA, that raises the strong possibility the company may have broken the law by deliberately introducing unpasteurized milk into its cheeses.
Crisco does not produce any product that would have, that may lawfully use non-pasteurized milk. And so we see these incredible discrepancies. In some cases, close to 200,000 pounds of milk product comes in on a given day, and approximately 150,000 pounds are used. Too much there to account for spillage, to be sure. And there is no product that they produce in which they would use this non-pasteurized milk. So clearly it was used for something.
Reiner says if the link between the company's alleged actions and the listeria deaths is confirmed, manslaughter charges may also be sought. The DA also told reporters company records relating to the investigation may have been removed from plant offices in Artesia.
An attorney for the company removed original documents, of which we fortunately have copies from the premises, and later informed a representative of the FDA that those records were stolen from his briefcase. We find that to be highly suspicious.
The owner of the embattled cheese company reacted angrily to the DA's charges.
To my knowledge, nobody in this plant has ever intentionally made any product with raw milk. I've never removed any documents from here that are not available to all the agencies. I have safeguarded certain documents that have all been made available to the agencies.
You have withheld nothing?
That is absolutely true.
McPherson says the company is still trying to find out how the cheese became contaminated, and adds he doesn't believe any of his employees would have deliberately bypassed pasteurization at the plant. So for the first time, the possibility of criminal wrongdoing has been raised in connection with Jalisco cheese. Investigators from the DA's office say the company has in no way provided them with a satisfactory explanation as to how the unpasteurized milk got into the finished product, nor have they explained why crucial records might be missing. District Attorney Reiner says, pending a thorough review of all records seized so far, he is prepared to take the case to the grand jury.
Still in Southern California, the small Southern California community of Thermal was the scene of the state's latest chemical spill and fire. A 300-foot cloud of black vapor hung over the desert town as firefighters were forced to stand by and watch as the fire inside the pesticide plant burned. All 1,000 residents of Thermal were evacuated. Dozens of people in the area complained of nausea and vomiting, but there were no serious injuries reported. In Anaheim, thousands of residents were returning to their homes after 3 days away due to a pesticide fire in their neighborhood. But officials in Anaheim are warning them to avoid the area around the Larry Fricker fertilizer and pesticide warehouse, where fires continue to smolder. Visiting the site today was Lieutenant Governor Leo McCarthy, who said such plans should never be allowed in residential area. Law enforcement in Calaveras County now say there were at least 9 bodies found on the Leonard Lake Ranch near Wilseyville. Because most of the remains are piles of burnt bones, only 1 body has been identified. Officials are now trying to figure out who were in some of the photos found on the ranch.
The snapshots of 20 women, some of them partially nude, were found pinned to a wall in Lake's so-called torture chamber, the one hidden in a cinder block bunker on the Wilseyville property, where 9 bodies have been found so far. 4 of the women have been identified, and 2 of those have been contacted and found to be well. Authorities are now asking for help in identifying or locating the remaining 16 women.
We have no reason to believe that they are missing. They are simply unidentified people who may have a connection with Leonard Lake and who may be able to help us.
We certainly want to know the circumstances of the photos, when they were taken. We're interested in knowing anything we can about Mr. Lake and Mr. Ng.
Officials would not say how the 2 who have been contacted are connected to Lake, or even if they knew him. They are promising the same confidentiality for these women or those who can help identify them. If you can help, you can call this special tip number during regular working hours. Meanwhile, the search for Lake's suspected accomplice, Charles Ng, continues. Among other crimes, he's wanted for kidnapping, false imprisonment, and criminal conspiracy. FBI officials say they are actively pursuing leads. And although some are look-alike sightings, they say they are optimistic.
We're very encouraged about the progress we're making. It's not a cold investigation.
Law enforcement officials say they have no doubts they'll get a flood of telephone tips, and many of those leads won't pan out. But they say better false leads than none at all. For News Plus, this is Lonnie Wong reporting.
Not long ago here on News Plus, we had a series of reports on the artificial sweetener NutraSweet. When we return, Steve Wilson will have an update on that series.
For value and economy, this is the best deal in the valley. Right now at Modesto Mazda, you can have your...
Stop everything for this special announcement. This weekend at Modesto Mazda Isuzu, you'll receive a $2,500 guaranteed trade-in for any car or truck, regardless of condition, when you buy any new Mazda or Isuzu. Tow it in or push it in. Your trade-in is worth at least $2,500.
You're only going to find a deal like that at one place, Modesto Mazda.
The home of the good old boys.
I used to come here with my family, and now I work here, and Shakey's just keeps getting better and better. Take our home-style pan pizza. Now, maybe you've had pan pizza before, but not this pan pizza. Garden fresh toppings, 100% natural mozzarella cheese, a light, flaky crust made fresh every day. You just gotta try this pan pizza. Well, not this pan pizza.
Thanks, Jimmy.
You're welcome, Mom.
Shakey's good taste, naturally. When trouble finds you and you need a helping hand, who can you turn to?
Turn to a friend.
When you need a friend,
Hi.
turn to Union 76.
Hi.
Because while other companies are getting rid of their full service, 76 still has it. So come on in, get the VIP treatment.
Turn to a friend.
Which oil blends the best in salad dressing? Only Crisco Oil.
You can blend a smoother dressing.
Crisco Oil stays blended longer, while other oils separate quickly.
Tastes a lot of flavor.
You get a smoother blend of oil and vinegar.
Munch, munch, munch.
With Crisco Oil, you get tasty, lively salads with delicious flavor in every bite.
Blend it up smoother, toss it up lightly, taste a lot of flavor.
Your salads will taste great with Crisco Oil.
Munch, munch, munch.
In a series aired by News Plus a few weeks ago, reporter Steve Wilson reviewed charges that the makers of NutraSweet had falsified the test results of the product to get the sweetener on the market. Well, tonight, Steve has a follow-up look at what's happening now.
A little red swirl next to the words NutraSweet brand sweetener.
Thanks to a fortune spent on ads like this, even young Americans know what NutraSweet is.
100% NutraSweet.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
But since we reported about all the questions still unanswered in regard to the safety of NutraSweet, there have been some new developments.
There's enough reason to be suspicious.
Senator Metzenbaum says he's seen enough now to have real suspicions, and he has directed the General Accounting Office to investigate. Specifically, his letter to the Comptroller General asked for an investigation of NutraSweet test results, what really happened during the formal FDA approval process, and to what extent was the White House involved in the approval of the product.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Food and Drug Administration ought to act with dispatch to investigate the safety of this product. Too many people are drinking too many diet drinks to permit this to go on, and they shouldn't need a congressional prod in order to do the job that is truly their own responsibility.
By the way, another Metzenbaum letter, this one also signed by Senator Hines, put some sharp questions to the FDA. The senators want to know if more stringent labeling requirements are in the works, so we'll all know how much of the stuff is safe to drink, what's being done to validate the test data the manufacturer provided, and who's monitoring and encouraging medical reports from doctors across the nation when they see evidence of medical problems possibly related to NutraSweet. Searle, the maker of NutraSweet, is still standing behind the product, calling it absolutely safe. But the company has acknowledged now at least 8 more studies are being done on the product's safety questions, perhaps the biggest here at Duke University. Scientists on this campus and elsewhere will study whether NutraSweet causes headaches, seizures, and special problems for children. In Atlanta, scientists at Emory University are out with a report that links NutraSweet consumption by pregnant women to birth defects and problems with infants who may eat or drink it. And in Maryland late last month, what may be the first lawsuit as a result of the safety concerns. The mother of a little boy is seeking $2 million from Searle, claiming the child has suffered serious and permanent neurologic and psychiatric injury as a result of NutraSweet consumption. The product, meanwhile, is still selling briskly. Sales are expected to top $1 billion this year.
We're low in calories. We got NutraSweet.
Steve Wilson, News Plus.
A Woodland burglary suspect is safely back behind bars tonight after an exciting escape attempt during his arraignment hearing this afternoon. Woodland police say Emil Fernandez ripped off his prison uniform and fled through a back door in the courthouse.
Running up that way, and the cops chased him. Then about 3 of them chased him across this way, and he came right over here. And then when he grabbed Willie Truitt, one of Willie Truitt's workers from Amos Smith, and threw him out of his truck, and took his truck, and we took off. The one policeman shot him about 6 times, shot the front of the truck, and said that he hit him, shot him, and then the other bailiff took off with the citizen's car right there, jumped in it and took off in it. And he took off down 2nd Street and ran all the red lights.
Well, after all those events, no one was hit by the bullets, and moments later, police stopped the truck and they caught Fernandez. If you live in the city of Sacramento, you can expect to pay an average of 28% more for garbage and sewer services. The hike is part of a new $228 million budget approved by the City Council on Tuesday. That budget also calls for an additional 25 positions for the city's police force and a continuation of the 9% tax on utility bills. The new spending plan is a 17% increase over last year's nearly $200 million budget. The new garbage and sewer rates take effect July 1st. Along with that, commercial garbage rates will go up an average of 20%. In an unexpected move, the council also doled out $1.5 million in salary savings among several city departments. Well, getting away from budget matters and turning to sports, Jim Crandall is going to be coming up after a commercial break. What are you going to be telling us about?
From budgets to baseball, Andy, all right. The Giants a loser, the A's a winner today. Sounds familiar, right? Don Sutton now only 14 wins shy of 300, just about unhittable today. We'll have all the highlights for you next in sports.
Columbia, 1858.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? You got gold for sale, right? I can give you the best price in California.
Hey, mister, you can get a much better deal over here.
For over 133 years, Wells Fargo's come through with a fair shake for Californians.
$18.50 an ounce. That's what it's worth. That's what I'll pay.
Done. Wells Fargo Bank, still coming through today.
In Buenos Aires, office workers celebrate the end of the year in a way sure to warm the hearts of paper pushers everywhere. And the city doesn't even have to clean things up. It's all done by a private company, part of the operations of an American company 2 million people here couldn't be happier with. No wonder. All this mess will be gone in just over 6 hours. Waste management, helping the world dispose of its problems.
From Eureka to Bakersfield, from Reno to Los Angeles, all roads lead to Walnut Creek Toyota. People from all over are buying cars from Walnut Creek Toyota because of their tremendous inventory and their unbeatable low prices. One of the top 50 Toyota dealers in the nation, Walnut Creek Toyota's Fleet Purchase Hotline gives you the access to the inventory of 52 Toyota dealers in Northern California. And yes, they will take your order by telephone when you dial Walnut Creek Toyota, We Fleet.
This year, Calex is really making the 4th of July sparks fly with dramatic once-a-year savings on our Independence Spa. Save $500 off the price of this superior quality Calex Independence Spa. $49 down and $49 a month. So make this 4th of July the most dazzling ever. Come into Calex now and save $500 on our energy-efficient Independence Spa. Calex, Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, Fairfield, and Pleasanton.
Well, another similar story in the Bay Area. The hotter team won, the losing team lost, or the one that's had that tradition.
The ice-cold team lost, Andy. Let's talk about Don Sutton. He has pitched well almost every time out for the A's this season, and today was his best effort of the season. Sutton with a 4-hit shutout this afternoon at the White Sox. 10-0, the A's a winner at the Coliseum. Sutton, 286 career wins now, 19th best on the all-time list. All right, big 4th inning for the A's today. Rob Pichilot, Rudy Law couldn't handle it. The bases were loaded. Everybody scored, and it put Oakland up at this point 4-0. Still in the 4th inning now. Watch the next hitter, Mike Davis. Here's a play for you. I think the White Sox must have watched last night's Giants highlights. Does this look familiar at all? Pichilot scored. It was 5-0, and then Dave Kingman finished the inning with an absolute blast right here for his 18th home run of the season, and it was all Oakland, 10-zip this afternoon. Here's the Major League scoreboard. In 10 innings, 5-4 Seattle, still playing at Anaheim, tied at 5 in the 6th. Milwaukee